Welcome back to another video. Today I am filming, I said filming, recording, filming and recording my sports video. I'm doing the top 25. I'm going to separate these into two parts. So I'm doing the first part today, which will be uploaded Monday. I'm going to upload part two Friday. There's going to be 3 videos a week. Monday and Friday are going to be sports videos. Wednesday is going to be a gaming video. So welcome back to me doing this and consistently doing this now. Start off, wrote me a script for this. I have scripts for these because I'm be honest with you, I'm not just gonna keep going off the dome. Wasn't not working out too well for me. So if y'all see me looking over here, it's because of my script's over here. We're gonna get better to where it's gonna look like I'm not reading from a script, but I'm just gonna keep it 100% honest with y'all. So let's get into it. First game was Friday with UM versus Louisville. Louisville won 24-21. I think offense. We're gonna start off with UM first, then we'll go to Louisville. I think offensively for UM, we haven't seen the full potential of their offense. Carson Beck had a very bad game with 4 interceptions and very bad reads throughout the game. But I do have this to say: the fact that they had a bad game and UM was still in position to win the game says a lot. I think for them, I do think their offense is gonna bounce back and hopefully somewhere down this line of this last stretch of the season for them, their offense can find a rhythm where they can actually consistently put up points. Defensively for UM, they didn't play good in the first quarter, allowing 14 points, something they hadn't did all season. They had a lot of touchdown, I think, in the first quarter all season, but they allowed 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. But then they only allowed 10 points for the rest of the game. Defensively, I think they'll be all right. Granted, I do think this Louisville game exposed their defense and really their team in total. I think something a lot of I don't think any of the teams that they have on the rest of their schedule will be able to execute off of. But I do think when playoffs come or the AC championship if they make it, teams they're gonna have to play then will definitely execute off of those weaknesses. But I do think they'll bounce back and get Stanford. They have to play. For Louisville, the burp. Louisville looks really good defensively, holding UM to 21 points. They're fast and physical. And I think if they stay consistent, they will be a problem for a lot of teams. So I really like them. I really like Louisville. When I saw them play defensively, I really do like their defense. Like I said, they're fast, physical, flying across the field, can move from sideline to sideline. And to me, they have a top 10 defense in the country. From the eye test, I'm not going off of just stats alone. I'm going off from what I watch in my personal opinion. So to me, Louisville has a top 10 defense in the country just off of what I've seen them do so far this season. Offensively, they were solid. Miller Moss is finding his rhythm. He was getting the ball out quick against Miami, which made Miami D-line ineffective. Also, the running back Isaac Brown has proven why he's a top running back in the country. He had 113 rushing yards against Miami and has 447 rushing yards on the season and 3 touchdowns. But Isaac Brown is someone I have high hopes for throughout the season. Even him going to the league, he is someone I have high hopes for to actually pan out and be really good. That's it for that game. Miami has to play Stanford. I do not know who Louisville has to play next. Should have wrote that down. Did not. But I do think Louisville has a good chance of winning out, which would actually be pretty bad for Miami because this was an in-conference win. I had to make sure my thing. I had to make sure my thing was recording. This would be a really bad. It would be really bad if Louisville wins out, because Louisville will remain over UM, and if Georgia Tech wins out and they go undefeated, which I think their only loss, to be honest with you, is going to just come from Georgia, because we're actually going to get to Georgia Tech later, actually. So the next game, we have Nebraska versus Minnesota. Minnesota won 24-6. This is an interesting game. I didn't watch it. I had to watch the highlights. For Minnesota, they played great football on both sides of the ball. They have responded well ever since they lost 42-3 to Ohio State. Minnesota has won 2 straight now and one against a ranked opponent, which was Nebraska. Like I said, I don't really know too much on Minnesota, Um, I'm definitely gonna, because I'm pretty sure if they keep winning, they're gonna be ranked at some point. So I'm definitely gonna do my research on them and film watch. So, but for Nebraska, they have to find some consistency in their offense. Uh, Dylan Raiola has to be a better decision maker and playmaker. He has not been that good playmaker. I think he does too much, which leads to the costly turnovers, which leads to the bad decision making, which leads to bad throws, bad passes, and like just offensively, this game they were bad from what I was able to watch. Defensively, they didn't play that bad. Their offense just couldn't score. Like if you watch the game, their defense didn't play bad. Their offense has somewhat of an offense. I would say they win this game 31-24, 27-24. Defense can only hold up for so long. So that's it for that game. Next we have LSU and Vanderbilt. For LSU, this is a lot. I have a lot to say about both these. Well, just LSU because this has kind of been on my chest since we played them, since Florida played them. So for LSU, their offense was overhyped. Garrett Nussmeier coming into the year was a Heisman favorite. Personally, I wasn't a big believer in him, but I was like, maybe he could prove me wrong. He's been an average quarterback so far this season. Also, I think LSU's inability to play complementary football caught up to them again. It happened against Ole Miss and it happened against Vanderbilt. Their defense feels like they're giving up with every game that goes by. Their offense has no flow to it. Their offensive coordinator, Joe Sloan, play calling is terrible. Very terrible. Your offense should be way better than what it is with the amount of talent that you have on it. Brian Kelly is, in my personal opinion, I think he needs to go. And I think the offensive coordinator needs to go. Keep the defensive coordinator. He's actually pretty good. But if you're going to clear house, just get rid of Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan. Those two. Really, I think they're just going to get rid of. I think Brian Kelly's going to last this year. And I think at the end of the year, the only person I see getting fired is Joe Sloan. I think Brian Kelly will stay the head coach for the next 2 years. If they don't have any success next year, then he's going to be gone. And their O-line has no coordination. They look lost out there. Garrett Nussmeier is getting hit too much. But my problem is with this LSU team. Their goal coming into the season was to win a national championship. They had national championship expectations. But now you're most likely going to miss the college football playoffs because you still have to play Texas A&M and Alabama, and you're not going to. You could beat maybe Texas A&M. The way Bama's rolling right now, I don't think you're going to beat them. Alabama has been arguably, to me, one of the best teams, top 3 teams in the country, ever since that loss to Florida State. To me, I feel like they should be number 3 right now. Texas A&M is number 3. I think Alabama should be number 3. Really, I will put Alabama at 2 because I'll put them over Indiana. So, yeah, right now, I don't see LSU making the playoffs. They're not going to make the SEC championship game. Their 2 losses are conference losses. Their offenses look, like I said, terrible. O-line look terrible. Defense looked really good at the beginning of the year. But like I said, I think their defense is giving up. And that's my take on LSU. Maybe y'all have a different opinion. Maybe some of y'all could tell me that, maybe change my opinion on LSU. But as of right now for LSU, I do not think they are a good team. They're getting exposed almost every week. Their offense can barely put up more than 30 points. I think only the couple of times they put up over 30 points. They didn't even put up 30 points against 20 plus, I don't think, against Clemson. If I remember correctly. I think the only time they got over 30 is when they played an FCS school. And I could be wrong. I could probably be wrong. Because I can't remember off the top of my head of their past couple of games. But so y'all could probably, hey, tell me something I don't. For Vanderbilt, though. Vanderbilt, they look legit. I will say, Vanderbilt looks legit. I think if they win out, they can make some noise in the playoffs. Diego Pavia has been a top quarterback this season. If he keeps up to where he's playing right now, and they basically went out, which is gonna be tough. But I think if they went out, you can maybe drop one more game, and that's a big if. But if he continues playing where he's at, he's gonna be a Heisman favorite. Like the only thing I think stopping Vanderbilt is really their defense. Their defense has to be more consistent. Their defense not really that consistent against LSU. Like they were going band for band with Vanderbilt. Their defense did get like a couple timely stops at towards the end of the game. LSU literally got the ball back like 3 times under the 5 minutes, where they could have went down multiple times and tried to score to tie it, but didn't happen. I think it just they're not the inconsistent, but it's their defense has to be consistent against big time teams. I think that Alabama game for Vanderbilt, their defense played pretty solid. They were kind of going back and forth with Alabama, and Alabama was pulled away for the turnovers and mistakes Vanderbilt was making. I think that game for Vanderbilt humbled them, and I think they're gonna just keep going throughout this year and playing to the high level that they're playing at right now. Also, I can't remember if I said it, but Vanderbilt won 31-24. Next, Georgia Tech versus Duke. Georgia Tech won 27-18. For Georgia Tech, they for me they take way too long to get started offensively. They let Duke hang around when Georgia Tech had multiple opportunities to put them away. And defensively, they look horrible against good passing offenses. Georgia Tech defense gave up 400 passing yards. Or I said passing. My bad. It is passing yards because I don't have it as passing yards. I have it as 400 yards. But they gave up 400 yards through the air, but still undefeated and ranked 7 in the country. I do think Georgia Tech will make it to the AC championship game because I do think they're gonna win out in conference play. I think they're gonna win out in conference play. I don't think they're gonna beat Georgia, but that game won't matter because that's just a rivalry game. And if Georgia Tech goes into that game undefeated, I think they're still gonna make the playoffs because they're gonna end up going to the AC championship game, which I think they're gonna have to play either Louisville, UM, or SMU. It's really just between Louisville and SMU. I mean, like Louisville, UM, and Virginia. I can't forget Virginia. Really, that's my top teams in the ACC. So, yeah, that's my thing for Georgia Tech. So the next game, Michigan versus Washington. Michigan won 24-7. For Michigan, they have an interesting season so far. Being 5-2 and coming from a loss last week from USC, they have responded really well. Their defense had 4 takeaways in this game. Freshman Bryce Underwood had 230 passing yards and 2 touchdowns against Washington. Right now for Michigan, if they win out and finish the season 10-2, I mean you probably won't make the playoffs, but you will be in a top bowl game, and if you can win that game, you go into next season with a lot of momentum. As you have Justin Haynes coming back. You're gonna have Bryce Underwood in his second year, more experience. You're still gonna have a top defense. You got a top recruiting class. I'm pretty sure you're gonna people out the transfer portal. So I think Michigan right now, for what they have on their team, are doing a lot better than what a lot of people expected. And for our final game, we have Oklahoma versus South Carolina. Now, granted, I was only gonna talk about the ranked teams. As you guys can see, I didn't really talk about Duke or Washington because they weren't ranked. But I do want to talk about South Carolina. But we're gonna go over Oklahoma first. Oklahoma won 26-7. For Oklahoma, I will say they have one of the best defenses in the country too. Holding South Carolina only 7 points, and offensively they're really good. Once John Mintier fully gets healthy, they will be a problem. That's really for Oklahoma. They like if he was granted, he said he was fully healthy. John Mintier, he said he was healthy again in that game against Texas. He just wasn't mentally locked in. Really, if it was that, it was that. But right now, Oklahoma does look like a very tough team to beat. And I think once they get locked in back to where they were, they're gonna be a problem. I think defensively they're already a problem. Offensively, if their offense could be a little bit more, I don't want to say consistent because they really are kind of consistent already. Oklahoma is past for me they passed the eye test for them to get into the playoffs if they win out. Granted, they're gonna have a tough stretch coming up. Cause I think they play Missouri, I think this week. So And Missouri's been pretty solid too. With I think their only loss being to Alabama. For South Carolina, I didn't even write anything down for South Carolina. I just wanted to talk about South Carolina because I literally just seen something right before I started recording with Shane Beamer in an interview and how like his play calling, they were questioning his play calling, which I've been questioning too. Shane Beamer play calling and his offensive coordinators play calling have just been terrible this entire season. South Carolina came into the year ranked. They beat Virginia Tech in the opening game, and they just haven't been that same team from last year. Granted, they lost players to the NFL, people to the portal, but I feel like it's something I talked about too on my Instagram. I posted. Shane Beamer is not a bad coach. He's not a great one either. He is just a good coach who I think has to be surrounded with good offensive and defensive coordinators. Same thing I think with a lot of coaches beyond Mike Norvell. Mario Cristobal did it. Mario Cristobal he's not a great coach. He's a good coach. But he just surrounds himself with good offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators. Shane Beamer, I think, has to do the same thing. If you watch the Oklahoma and South Carolina game, South Carolina, I can't even tell you how many times South Carolina went 3 and out. Due to bad play calling, due to just bad decision making by Lenore Sellers, who don't know what's going on with him. He was a Heisman favorite too coming into the year. And I had high hopes for him actually above Garrett Nussmeier. Because Lenore Sellers is like, if I had to compare him to somebody, it would be Josh Allen. That's who Lenore Sellers, that's my comparison for him. This team, South Carolina, should be way better than what they're putting out there. Like, they have the talent. They have the talent up and down, offensively, defensively, to be a national championship team. It's just not panning out. And when the talent's not panning out, you're going to point at the coach because it is his fault. I do think Shane Beamer shouldn't be fired. We're not just going to throw the fire word out there. I've been doing that too much. We're not going to throw the fired word out there a lot with these coaches. But a change does have to happen if you're Shane Beamer. You have to get this program of South Carolina back to where you want it. Last year, you were 9-3. People thought you should have made the playoffs. Personally, they had an argument last year when they went 9-3. They beat the ACC championship, which was Clemson, knocked off a couple other teams. They had an argument, but you knew if UM and Ole Miss didn't get in, South Carolina was going to get in. Especially Ole Miss. Ole Miss wasn't going to get in. And Ole Miss beat y'all, blew y'all out actually last year. So y'all weren't going to get in anyway as a 9-3 team. You're definitely not going to get in this year. Because you still have to play Alabama, who you're probably not going to beat if your offense keeps looking like this. You're going to get blown out if you don't make a change. I really like South Carolina because I like the talent that's on their team. And I really want them to make a turnaround. And because I really like Shane Beamer as a coach, not as a play caller. I like him as a coach and not as a play caller. And I really hope to see them succeed. And it's going to be really interesting because I think we play them next year. So, yeah, that's kind of what I got to say for this. This is part 1 of this video. So, like I said, I'm going to upload part 2 I'm gonna upload part 2 Friday and talk about the rest of the games. Because there's no ranked games or anything Friday. So, that's actually perfect. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be doing more consistent upload of sports videos. So, like, next week, I want to talk about Colorado and Deion. If Deion can take Colorado to a national championship at some point in his career span at Colorado. And some other sports things. I want to talk about the NBA. I want to talk about the East. I think there's a couple of teams I think that can surprise people this year. So, yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time. Please leave y'all thoughts and comments below. I'd like to know y'all opinions. Because I'm a debater. I love debating. So, especially about sports. So, if y'all have y'all takes, hey, let me know in the comments. I'll see y'all next time. Have a very, very blessed day.